Man, I can't wait. So for now, we're just doing a little bit of setup, just making sure, you know, vibes is right, making sure the merch is right, making sure the food is right, making sure the camera's right, making sure I'm right. Take action.
Rage all night on Saturday, praise the Lord on Sunday. No work on Monday, this life is like a runway. No leash on this guy, gets wild on my side. No matter club or house party, I'll light it up like left eye. Okay, pass the effing, no chaser.
Intermission? Alright, cool, I got something for you.
That body banging, sex, pistol is loaded.
What's going on? How y'all feeling tonight? All right. My name is Lamarre, Billboard hip-hop editor. Today's a special night, my G. How you feeling?
I'm blessed, bro. Honestly, I'm blessed. I just feel happy to be here, and just to see all the hard work pay off kind of makes it all worth it, you know? Everybody in the house tonight, you, the cameras, it just feels good to see myself finally not in the booth, not running around. It feels good to just be here.
We're here obviously because you had that 5-track project. That rap, Runaway Pain.
Yes, sir.
Man, talk about that journey, you know, because I'm sure you obviously recorded more than 5 records. Talk about that recording process and then eventually cutting it down to those 5.
Well, the ill part about this EP is that it was originally supposed to be an album. And started recording it probably around 2016. And a lot of life happened, you know, pretty much I just ended up calling it Rap Runaway Pain because things from life, death had started happening around me, a lot of trials that I just didn't really know how to handle. And the main issue that finished this project was the death of my father. So seeing somebody you look up to, obviously someone who brought you here, have to leave in front of your eyes, it does something to you. But as it happened, just with the support of my family and my brothers, my little brother Danny actually told me, what you saw is either gonna make or create the rest of your life. And I just decided instead of going in the crazy, super hype direction that I was going in for the album, I decided why not just say what's actually happening. So the first track, Rap, is actually the last song that was recorded. Yeah, so if you listen close to it, I'm still talking about like kind of being in denial that he passed, that he was dying from cancer, but it was kind of like, you gotta deal with it. You know, this is something that me and my brothers have been rooting for since we were kids, you know. Luckily, I was blessed with parents that raised us in a way where we'll be okay by ourselves, you know, being self-sufficient. So I felt if I'm gonna have to tell people who I am, because everyone asks the artist, like, all right, who are you? Like, what makes you different? Why not just tell you actually what happened? You know, you can't stay away from it.
You know, it's crazy because that title track,
Yeah.
it kind of hit me because my father actually died from cancer last month. So when I heard that, I was like, God damn. So the reason I bring that up is to ask you, you know, you bringing up your father passing away from cancer, in what way did he mold you not only as a man, but that also helped you with your artistry?
Primarily that, in his words, like outside of these walls in the house, it's a jungle outside. So I'm not raising you guys to get eaten. I'm not raising you guys to just follow the pack. I'm raising you guys to be leaders. And with that, I always had trouble following that as I got older. But then you start putting yourself in crazy jungle-like situations where you either have to, like you have on your shirt, you have a tiger. Like, you know what tigers eat. I like eating. I don't like, you know? So I felt my dad is the person that I have in the back of my head that's just continuously allowing me to make the right decisions. You know, your parent, I'm not a parent, but I'm sure there's parents in here, obviously, that you would do anything for your kids, you know, you do anything. But you also know that you can't do everything for them. And I think knowing that as a person without a child is gonna help me to be a better father when it's time for me to be a father. But it also allowed me to make the better records now. You know, his influence on my music is just, yo, start with your roots, you know? You always said incorporate reggae into your records, incorporate dancehall. He was a DJ at one point in his life, so he gave my older brother all of his records. My older brother Kenny's the reason why I even started rapping. So I wanted to start the track with as transparent as possible. So when you get up to the Light It Ups and the Can't Get Rid of Me's, the Feel Good Turn Up records, which really are, you know, up right on my alley, wanted to allow people to grow with me. 5 tracks is easy. It's a 20-minute listen. Easy to digest, but it's so hearty, you know? It's like you're going to Red Lobster. You know, I'm not too fancy, so I still go to Red Lobster. But, oh yeah, they know about me. They know about me with those shrimp biscuits. But the good part is I allowed myself the time to just fall back and experience all of that shit that I was feeling. So when it came time to make the other records, I could shade down which ones felt right, I could create better ones, and that's what I did. I really challenged my pen. Like, I really challenged my pen. So all of 2018, I watched movies, did a little self-indulgence, and I allowed myself to get into a space where I can create a project that was gonna live longer than a month. Like I was telling you earlier, I was telling Carl earlier that I do things the way I do because I plan on being here 30 years from now, 40 years from now, you know? And the ill part about being in this generation of artists, not just hip hop, artists today have way more say-so on their own destinies. And I don't want to be one of those people that just, you know, goes along with the pack. Once again, being a leader, I don't want to go along with the pack and miss out on my own blessings. So I felt that this project came across at the perfect time.
You know, obviously your rap name, ShotofADRENALIN. Going back to the title track, you also rap about potential. So I'm curious, in what ways do you feel like you can give not only hip hop, but New York that shot, that extra shot of adrenaline that it needs right now?
I'll probably die for this. Like everything that you're seeing up there, like being around with the kids, being on stage, showing and proving in front of fellow MCs, I'll probably go that extra 6.5 miles because I don't really believe that we're doing this or I'm doing this for no reason. You know, if I'm putting so much time, money, blood, sweat, literally blood, sweat, and tears into this, I might as well do it. And I know a lot of people aren't going to do that. You know, I remember when I was probably 11. Y'all remember the MTV's like behind the music kind of thing? Like they'll go on the tours with different artists. I remember watching the Def Jam edition, and they had DMX on there. They were telling the story how when he went on stage, he had asthma attack. He was performing for I think like 45 minutes, because he usually does like an hour set. Around the 45-minute mark, he just went off stage, like collapsed. And I remember hearing it like, whoa, like, yo, this is DMX. At that time, he's a superhero to me, you know? He collapsed, passed out, came back took his asthma pump, 2-3 hits, went right back on stage and performed for another hour. That shit was magical to me. And for an 11-year-old kid, you start to realize that this is bigger than just cool words and having girls around. Like, that comes with it. You know, having nice things comes with this lifestyle. But you can't maintain this lifestyle not living this lifestyle. Everything that you put into it, you're going to get out of it. So all this effort, it's not in vain. I do this because I know anybody can. And I know I'm not going to let somebody else outwork me. Because I am supposed to be up here. I'm supposed to be top of the food chain. Not because of anybody else, but because I want to sleep nights at night. I want to sleep at night. And I can't do that if I don't, you know, stay true to myself.
Yeah! Yeah!
There you go. It's dope that you mentioned DMX. Shout out to DMX. He's making a nice comeback right now. You mentioned DMX. I know him and Nas served as some of your inspirations.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, looking back, which project would you say from each of them, you know, you referenced as far as making this EP?
As far as X and Nas go, like a lot of my inspirations aren't necessarily from music. Yeah, it's from movies. I told you last year I just watched movies because I know I have a pretty vivid imagination, and my imagination is what helps fuel my pen. So with the movie Belly, it's not necessarily the plot of it, it's more of the impact that it had. It was at a time when hip hop was becoming more commercial, more corporate, but it was also getting into more households. People from Yonkers, Queensbridge, Southside Jamaica, Queens, parts of Long Island, Compton, they were the new cool. They were the new James Deans. You feel me? They were the new Elvises. I'm not even gonna say new James Browns or Michaels because that's enough for itself. But I felt that movie allowed me to step outside the box and not just be a rapper. You know, not just do what rappers do. But if you're gonna do rapper shit, you better do it the best. You know. So outside of Belly, albums like Illmatic really shaped me. Drake, So Far Gone really shaped me. More specifically, Comeback Season. Anybody familiar with Comeback Season? Yeah, there's a lot of gems on that. And I talk about that also on the project because it allows you to, those projects really shows you what rap was. It showed you what hip hop was. But it showed you melody. It showed you storytelling. It showed you how to come into a whole other space. And I want to give that to people, whether it's a Light It Up or it's a Rob Away thing. That's what it means. Album cuts that do matter, that people just listen to on their way to work or whatever. It becomes a favorite. So Light It Up is like the big, come here, I got something for you. You know? But then right after Light It Up comes, I believe, Can't Get Rid of Me. You know, and it's literally talking just that. You cannot get rid of me. This is take it or leave it. How you see me is how you get me. You can take that same 90 bars that you just spit, break it up, put some melody onto it, put some sauce on it. You know, like that's the age we're living in. We're living in a more connected time period. So people who live in the complete other side of the world are tuning into you. How can you get them to listen to you? Music is universal, right? But language isn't. There's a billion different types of language. So you have to put a feeling or a certain emotion into those records that's gonna cross over to that. And I just feel for me, there's really no limit. You know, not to sound cliche, but I just feel like the best thing for me to do is to continue on the path that I'm at because I don't know where I'm going. Any of y'all know where y'all going? Nah, be honest. Yeah, none of us know where we're going, and I think once we accept that, that's when everything else happens.
You know, I know you were Long Island representative. Yeah. Shout out to you. Me too, 516.
Hey, all right.
516.
Long Island here?
There we go. There we go.
At least one person on the video.
Back. You know what I mean? So it feels good. Yeah. I bring that up because, you know, right now we're at a time where you got the Cardi B, A Boogie's repping the BX, you got the Babies, TJ Porter's out of Harlem.
Yeah.
A lot is kind of quiet. So I asked that to say, I'll bring that up to say, do you feel you're at a disadvantage based on your location? Because we haven't had an artist pop off in Long Island since God knows when. And if so, how are you planning to change that?
So hip hop started in the Bronx, right? You ever think about why Queensbridge like actually became Queensbridge? Because they didn't just allow it to be a separate borough. Right. We had something to say too. I feel like with Long Island, and I'm sure everyone from Long Island can understand this, sometimes we feel like we're in such our own world that we hesitate to jump into the real world. So a lot of the artists out there are amazing, amazing. But the one thing that needs to happen, everyone just needs to start raising their voices. The more you know, the louder you speak and the more confident you are, it's like don't play nowhere else. Like you live on LI, you live on LI, that's where you rap. And I feel like Long Island is one syllable away from really catapulting itself back onto the map. And you can't limit yourself to that. I love Long Island because I learned my chops there. You know, I learned how to fight there, I learned how to rap there, I learned how to love there, hate there, all of that stuff. So take that and just apply it to everywhere else. Unfortunately, there's a lot of rappers that come from Long Island, or just artists that come from Long Island that don't necessarily have a connection point to Long Island. So it's hard for them to rap it. You don't have to be specific to anywhere. That goes with if you're from Brooklyn, Queens, Bronx, or Cali. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't. You just have to show what your sauce is. My sauce is that. I'm literally, you see I'm in front of that mic, right? It's simple. That's That's Long Island to me. Everybody in there is from Long Island. Everybody in there. I'm 61, so I'm a little further out. But we get busy out there. And I just know that wherever I go, I'm taking that with me. So I don't have to scream Long Island, Long Island. I don't have to do that. People will find out eventually. Rakim's from Long Island. EPMD. Keith Murray. Countless people. Those people are part of the golden era. So we can't feel like any artist in here that's from the island, don't feel like the golden era of the island is over. The golden era of hip hop is still happening. It's not just Long Island. It's not just Huntington, Hempstead. No, it's New York. You just gotta show your stripes, man. Don't be afraid to jump out there.
5-track EP, you made sure to make room for, of course, the ladies.
Yeah.
I got a girls track on there called Tense. With that being said, I'm curious, with you being an artist, right? How does that work as far as relationships? Like you meet a girl, you tell her you're a rapper. How does that work in 2019?
I mean, leading up to 2019, it was, not really too good. Because I guess that preconceived notion of just being a young dude, you're rapping, you're around your boys, kind of has a certain stigma attached to it. But truthfully, it's not as hard as everybody thinks. It's really not. It's just communication. That's all it is. It's communication. Like unfortunately, I've been with women who couldn't understand that. But in hindsight, I also realized that it's partially my fault. And I speak on that in Tense. In Tense, I'm talking about a woman who just won't allow herself to air out. Like you're just stuck in this car almost. And I see through those things because I've been in that car before. But unfortunately, everyone has to go through